Ladies and gentlemen, this is Unknown. You're doing it again.
Look,
Unknown.
it's the one thing I can control, but it's a battle. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the questionnaire. I am the unknown factor, aka that Wade Wilson of hip hop. There is no other. I don't care who says what. I'll fucking take a mother and smother real quick. Yeah. So if I'm in the house, I got my Zalian brother with me, J. D-Day Hardaway, always interrupting the dopeness I'm reading, recommended by Dave over at Comic Book University. You can find their website too, comicbookuniversity.com, right? Really easy. You can order all kinds of dopeness from Dave and Rob. They got all kinds of sickness up on there, right? But that's neither here nor there. Hardaway, how goes it?
It's going pretty well. How about yourself, man? What's up?
I mean, don't you know my life's generally insane to the point where I can't even keep a cigar lit while I read a damn comic book?
All right, but here's the thing, though. We're not trying to talk. We have an extremely special guest with an epic ass name.
And can I say
How you
real
doing?
quick before we
What?
before we get to our guests, man, which we will very very shortly, I just have to say I'm loving this quest we've been on, Hardaway. We've had so many people from so many different places, right?
And so many more to come. And we got
Yeah,
it.
so many more. Y'all don't even know the info, the connection I just made on LinkedIn, but we'll get into that later. It's Deadpool, baby, and that's what's up. But right now, it's Nimrod Schif. How you doing, man?
All right, I'm doing fine. How are you?
Phenomenal. Real quick, we gotta say he's from Drawn Windows, right? So you can go check that out. There'll be links all up in the description. If you're watching this video, like, subscribe, hit that bell, all that goodness, right? Because there's madness coming up. Hardaway's always snacking on something, bro. What you eating?
A Snickers because I'm hungry. And why wait?
All right.
They should
Well,
pay me.
screw it. Why wait then, Nimrod? We do that questionnaire so we can get in a couple of more interesting things on the show. Right. And I just got to say, man, you had some phenomenal answers. But the one I'm most fond of and really just want to
Yes.
get into right off the bat, we're going to get into some other things here in a moment. I'm just like, Hardaway's like, isn't there typically a first question I ask? Yeah, not right now. Because, bro, Hawkeye is the best TV or series that you've seen based on a comic book. I just like, and look, I don't know that I would like agree or disagree with that personally. I would really have to spend a great deal of thought if someone asked me that question as far as what did the comic book the most justice. Why do you think that series specifically did the comic the most justice out of everything that's out there?
I think that series captured the humor of the comics, and the actors are very accurate to the comic characters. They look the same, they act the same. When I saw that, I immediately thought about the comics in every sense,
Now,
including the dog, the
I
pizza
just got
dog.
I just got to ask, is there a specific run that you thought of from Hawkeye as far as
Of course, the original, uh, Matt Faction.
see, you have no idea how much I was looking to hear that name because I definitely agree with you. Firstly, Hawkeye as a series is phenomenal. Um, and yeah, I love how much they took from Matt Fraction's work because what Matt Fraction did with Hawkeye, if y'all ain't out there and ain't read it, I would highly recommend it. It's phenomenal work,
Yes.
right? Now, let's flip that on the other end, right? And then I'm going to throw my partner under the bus, right? But before I throw him under the bus, I just got to ask, man, like Superman versus Batman, what made you hate that as much as I think I did? Because, oh my God.
Uh, it's everything except Gal Gadot's performance there. What really ruined the movie, it's when they fight and they both realize their mothers have the same first name. It was
Martha,
ridiculous.
Martha. Oh my God.
Yes.
Uh, Nimrod, I love it. Now let's get in to Nimrod a little bit. Hardaway.
what makes you want to create comics, and not only create comics, keep going within the comic book industry?
I think before even I read books, I fell in love with comics. In Israel, it's not. When I was a child, it wasn't such a popular thing here. You had very old comics of Tarzan in black and white, and old Spider-Man, Stanley Spider-Man's translate to Hebrew.
Real quick, hey, may
And
he rest in peace. May he rest in peace,
yeah,
truly. Because I had a chance to meet him, and what a phenomenal man. I met him when I was like 15, so it was before all the MCU. He was stupid famous, and the fact that he told his agent to shut up to take a picture with my 15-year-old self is. I might show that one day on the questionnaire. I swear.
You
Uh,
should.
I
he
probably should,
was
dude. It
a
really
man.
exists. Go ahead, Nimrod.
What? What?
Oh, no, I was saying, go ahead,
What
bro.
is the question? Ah,
What?
and with comics, I fell in love with it. I don't know why. Maybe because in my mind I prefer to think in a graphic way than in words, literally. And from young age, I tried to do comics. And after I was released from the army, I tried to look for places in Israel to study comics.
Wait, you were in the army?
Yes, in Israel, everybody that is reach age 18 needs to be in the army.
Oh, whoa! Learned something today.
You didn't know that, Hardaway?
I actually did not.
I'm amazed you didn't know that, brother. But that's besides the point, right?
Me too.
Can I say though, in Israel, man, how is it different? Because I mean, we've interviewed, like I said, people from 7 different countries. At this point on the questionnaire, we've had the privilege of. I'm not going to go through the list. Go through the playlist. They're all there, y'all. I promise, right? And they've all been phenomenal interviews. But what do you think the difference is as far as one in the comic book industry itself in Israel and trying to get into the comic book industry as opposed to say you were in America or even Canada or hell Mexico or really anywhere?
In Israel, there isn't any industry. There are only there's one or two famous comic artists, and the others are like, don't know if you know them. There is an artist that named Michel Kishka or Hanukkah brothers.
I feel like the
The,
first
the,
name you said strikes a chord, but there's a lot of dope comic book artists out there. Let's be sincere between the two of us. And I know
yeah,
I don't know all of them, man. Like I got to deal with these hip hop assholes over here that all got two names, and that's a whole
I
different
forgot
story.
his name too.
We've the reason why that name sounds familiar, unknown, is because we've seen some of his political comic strips. He's a cartoonist and an illustrator, Kishka.
Yes.
Yeah.
He does for work in French and for Belgian comics too, not only for Israel, from what I know. And there isn't any industry like any other place. Until the 90s, comics was in Israel considered a very low culture, the lowest. If you say you're doing comics, it's. I remember when I was in high school and I talked about comics, and people looked at me like I fell from another planet.
Same,
Whoa.
same, bro, same. And I'm in the U.S. You know what I mean? I get that. Like you'd be talking comics or like bringing comics into school, wanting to read them, and people thought that was the weirdest thing ever. So I entirely understand. So As many
Jabba
questions
Fuck.
as you just popped in my head, I gotta know the answer to Hardaway's other question. Then, at this point, man, what keeps you driven to keep doing it, especially based on where you are?
I think the audience from the world. In Twitter, I have a lot of audience, a lot of people who like my work and respond to my work, and to know they are out there in the last 2 years when the COVID epidemic was out there. A lot of people reached out to me and told me that my comics and my strips help them make them laugh, help them with their hard day and in their quarantine or hardship or whatever. And that's what keeps me going. And sometimes it's I'm what I do is helps me handle the hardship of my day, translate my frustrations or what what happens to me in the day that I didn't like, or to make it funny, to make it easier for me to look at stuff in a funny way or stuff like that.
I totally feel that, man.
Another
Yeah,
point of view.
That was a phenomenal answer.
yeah.
That wow. Way to set yourself above most. All right. So what made you want to do the type of comics that you do?
What made me do?
Like, cause
I
what
have
said,
I have a lot of ideas, a lot of story ideas, a lot of. I can go to the market and see something and pops into my head, or my wife tells me my wife is handicapped and she has a lot of stuff she can't handle. I did a comic based on her work. She works from home, and in one time I saw her almost fall asleep while walking. Popped in my head to use my. I draw ducks, mostly ducks characters, and I drew a duck of her falling asleep while walking. I did the comics from that event, especially, and a lot of things. Every situation pops something to my head, and I have to tell it. I have to get it outside.
I love that you take real life situations and that's what you use more than anything. Um, because I mean, if you look at the comic book industry, there are certain things that there's touches of real life. But there's also complete like, oh my God, firstly, I hope this ain't real. You know? Like I hope there's no evil Ernie out there somewhere. I really, really do. As much as I love that character, shout out to Ariel Mandela who just did the latest run of Evil Ernie. You can check that out. It's getting ready to drop in graphic novel. Actually, it probably already has by the time y'all are watching this. Um, but I really hope that character isn't out there, as well as you see things like Swingers from Matt Hawkins, who check that episode out as well, which is a completely different level of realism as far as about a couple and everything, and they're just having problems and they end up doing what they're doing. So I love that you take your aspirations from real life. Now, short of just real life situations, is there anything that inspires you outside of that?
Everything, movies, comics, news, real news, fake news. Um, Sometimes even when I watch news and something happens there that someone, I don't know, drop something. Uh, The movie Batman, the last movie, came out and it was everywhere. Everybody talked about the Batman, and I got sick of it. Everywhere there was the Batman, and I did a comic from that. Who's the real Batman? I did a comic strip based on that. Two comics, two strips.
Uh,
No,
you
so
know,
you're not a fan
I
of the
would read.
Batman?
I need. Not only do I need to read that comic about who's the real Batman, I would like a mini series on a bunch of Batman, like dudes dressed in the Batman suit fighting over who's the real Batman.
That's the idea.
Well, you got Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, Bruce, or I mean, his name escapes me, man. I want to be Ben Affleck. There you go. Yeah.
All of them, and then all the comic book versions that we've seen so far in a comic book strip, just in a straight battle royale fighting.
I'm sorry. I think Azrael wins that, in my personal opinion.
No. Bruce's daddy's gonna win that one. But I would definitely read that one. Who's the real Batman? You got to write that script and send that to DC. Nimrod, you got to write that script and send it to DC. Get you paid.
Try to do it.
Big boys.
That has as much chance of getting published as Ariel's story.
But both of them, dude, they did the Batman Who Laughs, which was completely messed up. So I think both those stories could get going. I think they can go. Give it a shot. What's the worst they gonna say? No.
Yes, I can try.
I mean, that's very true. You know, I think you have the problem with specifically that character, as it's one of those characters that's highly guarded by DC. You know, I mean, there are certain characters within DC and Marvel that they guard quite a bit, man. So I'm just curious, Nimrod, like over the overall comic book industry, like what's your opinion of the state of it right now? Because it's obviously changed a lot. It changed a lot during COVID. You know, I mean, COVID devastated certain comic book stores. I know there are comic book stores that shut down during COVID just because people weren't going there. A lot of people went to the web comic issue or the web, you know, getting comics off the web, which I know my associate here is a great fan of. Look, I love my physical books. You know what I mean? Like I need my Deadly Class, and I need it in print form. That's just me. Like I don't need the smell of the paper. I don't know why people do. Check out Stephen Grant's to get interviewed to get more into that. But I need it I need it physically in my hand. You know what I mean?
I like that too.
Okay. So what's your opinion as far as just the industry and how it's changing then overall with everything? I mean, because you've got DC that's owned by Warner Brothers, they're trying to start the universe. Marvel has done a phenomenal job starting off everything to the point where, you know, they've got the shows that they're running, like we brought up Hawkeye earlier, which again is phenomenal. I have nothing really negative to say about it. She-Hulk has been awesome. I mean, there are certain series there, whatever.
Yes.
What do you think about the fact of how much the comic book industry has changed on that? And I mean, even the fact that there are so many movies and TV shows that I guarantee people have watched, they're not even aware that they're comics. You know what I mean?
What to think about that? I think I don't think you will like my answer. I think the comics will be the end. The end of the line will be on the net, web comics. DC is doing that with in Webtoon with Batman's family, and I think Marvel is if they are smart, they will do something like that too.
I know Marvel's got a deal that you can, what is it, Hardaway? Do you know?
Oh no, DC actually does have comics that are free on webtoons that specifically are webtoons. Like
Yes.
they're never going to get published on paper. They're never going to go to their actual DC website app. They are purely webtoons on the webtoon application. DC's already reached out and started doing that. So Nimrod told you nothing but facts on that one. I don't know if Marvel has one yet, but I think it's but I can guarantee that they're on the works with it, because the thing is this: with webtoons, you can try something. There's no real overhead. It's all the artist's time. That's all it is, and they'll get paid if people like the story. The more people that read it, the more people that tip, the more people that will pay for the continuation of the next issue. Because what it is that I'll put the first 3 issues out for free. The 4th issue you have to wait a week for. Now, mind you, it's out, but if you want it for free, you have to wait a week. If you want it now, you got to pay, and it's about $1.
What do you think about that, Nimrod? As far as because it's changed the comic industry a great deal.
This is from what I think, this is the future of comics. Eventually, this is the way, not the print.
You know, the only thing that worries me about that, Nimrod, is, and I say this as a musician, Spotify don't pay shit. You know what I mean? Like it don't. Like as a musician, when we distribute our music and it's out to everywhere, I get a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a cent every time someone listens to my comic. So I guess there's a part of me that worries that when the physical is gone, that the artist and the writers and everyone associated with the comic won't be as appreciated. Is that something you worry about?
Yes, of course, but it's like books. You can read books on Amazon, in a Kindle. It's the same.
60%, 65 roughly % of your sales. Of the sales, yeah, because you're using their platform, you get about 65% of the sales.
Yeah, something like that.
Hey, and check it out. We're on Audible and on Amazon. I want to point out, if anybody don't know that's checking it out, you can find us there as well. But that's besides the point. Sorry.
But on that same note, there's different platforms. All right. Do your research on the platform, so on and so forth. For instance, for music, we shouldn't even be pushing Spotify. We should be pushing Tidal.
No,
I don't know that platform.
But when it comes to or Deezer, because these are the 2 companies that actually pay real money. When it comes to webtoons and whatnot, I haven't done a lot of research on the pay aspect of it in full detail, but my advice always check your applications. Not only that, hop on Fiverr.com, because you can make your own application for the low.
Yes.
And create your own platform for the low. It's really cheap.
If you know how to do it, it is. But what I'm doing once a month or 2 months, I research stuff like that, platforms of comics, or comics on Kindle, and search web comics, new stuff on the net. But a lot of the stuff are free. Like you said, the artist doesn't, like in Reddit, there are a lot of comic strips. I don't think any of the artists earn anything by distributing them there.
Yeah, no, I don't think they. It's based off of popularity. It's literally based off of popularity. The thing is you can either do sales or you can do popularity. That's when it comes to webtoons. That's how they do it. And if you do sales, it shows your popularity at that point in time. But if you do it by popularity, oops, sorry, baby. If you do it by popularity, on the other hand, you I see, baby. You can get what was I trying to say? You can get to know exactly the numbers when it comes to who likes you and who doesn't. And then companies will invest in you based off of that. So it's more like a labor of love until someone sees your worth. But this is why I always will claim nowadays is to make your own platform. You can sell your stuff by yourself all day, every day, and it wouldn't be necessarily too hard. The thing is you just got to invest in your own advertisement. That's what it is.
That's something that I didn't try, but sounds like a good advice.
Oh, well, I'm just curious, Nimrod, based on what he just said, what do you think is the best route for creators?
Good question, but if it depends. I think it depends where you live. Because in Israel, I have friends who do comics and don't earn anything. They're in debt from doing comics, and they're doing it because they love it. They're like me. That's their passion, and in the US, I think there are more audience if you print your comics, or if you're in Korea, or you popular in Webtoon or Tapoos or whatever platform you're popular with, you can earn. Maybe you can earn something from your passion, from me doing comics. It depends where you live.
Well, let me ask you this, man, because like I said, as someone that's 38, I've been into comics since I can remember, man. And like I said earlier, I feel like it's the industry changed a good deal. You know, I mean, it used to be here in the U.S. You could go and I mean, you went to CVS, Kroger, Walmart, whatever. There were comics in the magazine aisle. I don't know if it was ever like that in Israel.
No.
Okay, that's unfortunate. I want to point out because I think comics are a great source of literature work, and I think there's something that really help children catch on and help them be able to read. Like I know for a fact, like there's a reason I say as an MC, Stan Lee is my greatest influence. It's because if not for him, I would have never read as much as I did, so I wouldn't have the vocabulary that I do as far as doing hip hop. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be able to reach into like that. Um, why do you think it is, man? Because I mean, we were talking on this a little bit earlier that there's such a stigma around that as far as with comics. Because look, I know for a fact, just from previous interviews, that there are people that have learned to read strictly because of comic books. Um, I just don't understand the stigma. Do you think there's what reason do you think there is for it? And do you think there's a different reason for it in Israel as opposed to the U.S.?
I think because two things. The fact is, a lot of people call it the comics the funny pages because the newspapers, and a lot of people, if you remember the 80s movies about superheroes, a lot of the 60s Batman, a lot of them were funny and made the heroes look stupid. Not the opposite of the series and movies right now out there. And I think when I learned professional writing, I told my instructor, the one who ran the program at my university, that I wanted to do comics. And she asked me, why? It isn't literature. You are studying literature. As I told her, there is Mouse, there is Watchmen. And eventually she bought Watchmen and she approached me in front of the class and told me, this is literature. Everybody needs to read it. But not everybody knows that.
That's phenomenal, Nimrod. That you made a literary teacher realize that look, comics are literature. I understand there's things that like you might not consider because there's all kinds of different levels of comics, and I honestly think that that's a misconception. That hell, the more people I talk to, I think it's just a planet wide thing. To be real honest, I don't think because we certainly haven't ran across somebody that hasn't said something to this degree, but for some reason, like people all think it's just superhero or this or that. They don't think of books like Watchmen or Mouse or I mean even things like Swingers. I mean hell, you've got things like Plastic and Vinyl, The Crossed, by Garth Ennis and Dick Wagner respectively. Like these look, if you're handing these to your children to read, like the last three specifically that I mentioned, I want to point out
Wait,
being Vinyl,
there's
Plastic,
another
and The Crossed.
there's another one. Let's even break it down even more real quick. I gotta add this one. The Stand. You know that movie? You know that book? It's
Yeah.
a comic too. It's a Marvel comic as well. So it's like there's levels.
Yes, a lot of levels. Comics is a language. It's not only it's a storytelling device, but it's a language. It's an international language, and in the language there are a lot of things you can use. You can tell your stories through.
Oh, I'll tell you on that, Nimrod. I think I got to give you a little bit of the dude for real, right? Because firstly, to bring up like what you said is their storytelling devices, and that's why specifically Stephen Grant said on episode 10 that characters from comics are they're storytelling devices. You know what I mean? They're not, and he explained it more as that, which I understand. But on the note of your favorite character and your least favorite character growing up, how are you going to love Spider-Man and hate Doppelganger?
Because you read, did you read Crunch, Maximum Crunch?
Maximum, yeah, man, I love Maximum Carnage. That's like,
Me too. But they use him like a dog, like a pet. And this is the first time I met that character, and from that I see him only as a pet, not as a monster, not anything. Only as a pet that looks like a monster Spider-Man.
I see your point in that, but at the same time, man, you have to think that there are levels in comic books, especially when it comes to villains, and essentially every henchman of Joker's is just a pet.
Yes, like Harley Quinn in the beginning.
Yeah, very much Harley Quinn
And
in the beginning, before they did what she did. She was a pet of the Joker's, which I hope nobody gets pissed at me for saying that. I'm sure somebody will.
Kinda
Whatever.
because
It's a fact,
that
man. When Harley
that's a
Quinn
kind
initially
no,
started out,
that's a reach. Doppelganger was quite literally a dog. It was like what Thanos did to the Hawk. Put a leash on that man and was like, let's get to going, Scruffy.
but couldn't you say that the Joker in response does that to pretty much every one of his henchmen?
yeah,
No,
because
the
that
choice.
henchman is not that interesting. Nobody wants to read about the henchman.
Yeah, all of the hits have a choice, bro. Every last one have a choice to do what the Joker says. Your choice is this: do what I say or die.
Yes.
But you got a choice. When it comes to Doppelganger, though, that man had no choice. He had none, zero. So it's like, wow, I never thought of that though. That
Somebody just got really
hey,
mad at me for that Harley Quinn comment. So let's flip it, right? I mean, be positive on a female in the comic book industry because I love your current favorite character, that being X-23, because that's definitely a
Yes.
character
New
that's shown a
woman.
great level of development.
Yes. She's a great character. She's great in anything. I think that she needs to be the new woman in the movies too. I'm glad Hugh Jackman is back, but I think they need to do X-23 or the new Wolverine, something like that.
Oh,
I
Draken, dude, I would. Oh,
agree.
Damn, I'd love to see Draken in the films, man. If they do that, though, please give me the Dark Avengers. Please give me the
See,
Dark
it's,
Avengers.
I want
I love that you
Avengers over.
love the Savage. We may get to that a little bit more later on a later episode, but that'll be a later episode that we dig into the Savage Avengers. Just a little teaser for y'all. Yeah, because it's what I do. Right. Why Weapon H, man? I unfortunately I haven't had a chance to check out any of the Weapon H material. I've just seen some of the promo and what they did. Why do you not like that character?
Weapon Age, I think they made it up to make something new, but it isn't new. It's a combination of characters. It's nothing new out there. I'm reading on Sub Avengers right now. It's is it's not like a X-22. You have levels. She's a complex character, and you have to read it and explore to her the world, Marvel world, or how she sees things, how she's different than Wolverine. And if you read the earlier stuff, but with him, there's nothing new. It's like I don't know. Is very dull. It's very not. It's very flat character from what I saw.
I see, and
In
I
the
can kind of
comics.
believe that. It's the reason that I've honestly not picked that up yet. I've been picking up a lot of things here recently from uh just a lot of things, man. Dave gives me great recommendations in Comic Q. He really does. Um, but it makes me curious then, based on what you just said, what do you think about the fact of how often, especially the big two, tend to rebrand people? You know what I mean? Like, how many Captain Marvels have there been? How many Supermans have there been? Like, what do you think of the fact that, as opposed to trying to create a new character, they take a character they have and they just kind of make a new iteration of it?
I think it's easier. Recently, I tried to imagine new characters, superheroes. It's very hard because everybody done everything. Like, think if you need to invent a new vampire. You have the basic vampire, and everybody from that done a lot of versions, but they're all the same. The difference between the vampire and the super is their personality, not their powers. Not if he's Superman or if he's I don't know, Gladiator or something like that. A version, Homelander from the boy or something like that. The personality that's make the difference, not the template of the character. It could
All
be
right.
different. Like in Spider-Man right now, you have different Spider-Mans. Spider-Man, and the difference between them, their personality and background, but they are the same powers. They are the same. You accept the same thing from their powers.
My
The
favorite
same
is
template.
But you're right. They all got the same powers, but Spider-Man Noir is the best. I can't help it.
Spider-Man.
Noir.
You
It's the
just
black and
love
white
Nicolas Cage,
Spider-Man.
Hardaway. Don't lie.
Huh?
But
I said you just love Nicolas Cage, bro. Don't lie.
My daughter says Ghost Spider's the best. Actually, I'm sorry. I just thought about it. Fair enough. She thought about it, and that's what it is. Spider.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't Ghost Spider Gwen Stacy?
Gwen Stacy. That she is.
Okay.
But
Yeah. Well, let's bring this into. I'm curious, man. Let's bring this in, and I don't think this is anything we've ever discussed on the questionnaire. What do you think about the fact that for the sake of everything, you really can't kill a comic book character? Like, I think the only one that I can think of that really just stayed dead from back in the days? Uncle Ben?
It is, but they came back a few times in
Oh,
different
see,
variants.
but not permanently. You know what I mean? They never took
Mm-hmm.
him and made him a character like they did. The
Aunt
Red.
May.
Yeah, whoever the Red Hood is, or the Winter Soldier. You know what I mean? Or Bucky. You know what I mean? Where they've taken these characters that were dead for a decade or more. You know what I mean? And then still brought them back. What do you
I
think that
think
does as far as the impact in comic books and how they're looked at? The fact that these characters are, to a certain extent, kind of immortal. I mean, they even prove that more with what they're doing with AXE right now with the Avengers, X-Men, Eternals. When literally the Eternals are immortal, and then the X-Men have figured out a way to make everyone immortal.
I have 2 points of view. One is a friend of mine that told me he stopped reading comics because of that, because it's not like real life. He prefer fantasy or sci-fi because books, not comics, because they're characters that come back in so often.
Oh, wait,
And the
Nimrod.
other point of view you can see in the mythology,
I don't mean to
the Greek
interrupt you.
mythology.
Yeah, I don't
It's
mean
the
to interrupt
same
you.
like in the comics.
Yeah, well, because look, like as far as sci-fi, yeah, Ripley's got brought back quite a few times within the comics and within the.
Because of that, I say the books, not movies, not comics. He prefers the books.
he prefers sci-fi books.
Yeah.
But that being said, has he ever read the Post-Human or Transhuman series?
I don't think so.
Well, ask him to read that one and then come back to me, or Douglas Adams for that matter, since multiple characters die in the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Everything is in his book are crazy. That was his thing. You can be sure of anything you read because you can read the opposite the next page.
I saw you, baby. You did good.
Yeah, Douglas Adams is a phenomenal, or may he rest in peace as well. A phenomenal. Why are we bringing up so many dead people on this episode of the Questionnaire?
I don't know. Maybe because they're great.
No. Okay,
That's the classics.
fair enough.
Stephen King's not dead. I brought up Stephen King
Oh,
with
all
the
right.
Stand.
Bro,
And
he's
then you
pretty
have
old.
Neil
I don't
Gaiman,
think he's
who
got
wrote the
much time on the
Sandman.
clock left. I'm just saying.
No, well,
Not that
that's
no ill
this.
wishes to Stephen King. I want to point that out before somebody takes me the wrong way. I'm just saying, time is finite on this planet. You know what I mean? So, in that regard, right there, Nimrod, I'm curious with the time that you've been allotted on this planet, what is your long run goal within the comic book industry? Like, what would you? And when I say that, what would you most likely? What would you most like to succeed?
Let me grab it for you.
Right now, my goal is to do a graphic novel, not strips, or long web comics, but not strips. Right now, I'm doing strips, but my goal is that I'm trying to do those days to figure out a story, long-term story, and maybe get publish maybe in the US or in Japan, something like that. Not in Israel.
Now, are those the honest two main places you're looking to get published in? Is either Japan or the US? And if so, why specifically those two countries?
Because from what I figure out from the audience I get in Twitter, the main audience are from those places. Asian countries, and the US.
All right. That, I mean, those aren't lofty goals or anything of the sort. Those are
Real
realistic
quick,
ones.
real quick. I don't mean to interrupt you, Hardaway, but why does it look like you're getting attacked by Jackie Escato as much as you're in the damn darkness?
Well, the thing is that I think I make a lot of evil characters mad, by existing and
Look,
being a part of
look, Hardaway,
the multiverse.
firstly, do not
You know,
insult Jackie like that. I don't think you've read enough of Darkness. Jackie
I'm
wasn't a
not
bad
talking about
guy. He
him.
was just in a
And
screwy situation.
and see the thing is you think is Jackie doing this, and it's not. It's not even remotely Jackie. This is darkness. This is God's older sister. All right. So you gotta understand that I make a lot of people angry being a part of X Among You.
I mean, at least you ain't yellow pissing off our guest, I guess.
I mean, shush, you forcing questions that ignore our guests may upset our guests. Now, here's the thing. If you had an option to choose any artist or writer, no, let's go with artist first. Any artist to draw your comic, your ideal comic strip, who would it be?
Nobody dead.
Nobody
No,
said, yeah.
live, only live.
Yeah.
Jim Lee or Alex
Oh,
Ross.
Okay. All right.
Like,
He said,
can I
those
just
were
say,
my favorite.
like, yeah, right here.
yeah,
Yeah.
he wanted to drop nuclear bombs on people. Okay. All right. Now let's flip that over. Okay. If you had a chance to work with any writer, any that's alive, and that could be in the novel world, the manga world, anime, movie, so on and so forth, because they all write. All right. So anybody in the comic world as well, who would you choose? Because almost all of them work on comics. I'm sitting here seeing that like there's directors that have written comics.
Brian Michael Bendit and Dan Slott.
Wait, what was your second answer again?
Dan Slott. I think I pronounced his name right. Not sure. He writes Spider-Man, Fantastic Four.
Okay, I know who you're talking about now. Yeah. Can I say your first pick is honestly probably one of my. He's definitely in my top 10 of writers within comic books. Brian Michael Bendis has written some brilliant stuff for Marvel very recently and within the past decade and probably a little bit past. I'm honestly not sure when he really started diving into Marvel the way he has. I have to do better research, and I don't have time, right? So that's besides the point. Right? But can we say though, man? Then I want to get into two things, right? So you say your favorite part of the job is when you finally have that finished project, and I understand that as a hip hop artist, man. When you got that press CD, it's like yes, it's done. This is my music, right? So I can understand that as far as in the same relation. Why is it that the thing that you dread most is people that won't understand it? Right. Because look, I get that within my music. There's a lot of things that we do
I'll
with Kill a Factor
for a
and his
second.
day and beyond, just as myself solo, where I'm like, people are gonna hear this and they're not gonna get the point. Right. It's honestly not something I worry about because I think it would drive me completely insane. And thankfully I'm already crazy enough, Nimrod. I don't need no help. Right. I really don't. Right. So why is it do you think that's something that nags you in the back of your head?
Um, think like in music, if you done something in comics, you're telling a story. You're telling a story, but if you someone misread it or didn't understand the story or thought you talked about something else that you want, I did a comic strip about manufacturing on a computer. My brother at my parents' house, the computer got a virus and that didn't work well. I did the entire comic based on that thing that my dad calls a doctor and tells him his computer got a virus, and the doctor tells him, "I'm not that kind of doctor. You need to find somebody else." And some got the joke, and some didn't got the joke. For
That's a good joke,
And
in my opinion.
That's fucking hilarious. I'm sorry.
Look, all I got to say is if they didn't get a joke, if they didn't get that particular joke, they're either dumb or dumber. Which I kind of understand why you don't like that film. But can I ask why is it your most hated film, man? I've seen way worse films than Dumb and Dumber.
it's maybe I tried to see that movie twice, and it's so stupid movie that I
Have you
switch a
tried to watch the
channel.
prequel?
Can't stand it.
I'm just curious. Have you tried to watch the prequel? Because I assure you, it's worse. It is way worse.
Yes, I saw it. The entire movie. It's worse.
That's funny because I actually like Dumb and Dumber.
I mean, I
So,
like the Dumb and Dumber, the original film. I think it's good. But the When Harry Met Lloyd, the prequel, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm totally good. That was
haven't watched
a
that one.
terrible film.
Well, I'll just take your guys' word for it and just make sure, just keep the original in my head and heart as a classic. A classic, stupid comedy movie. All right, but here's the thing. I got a question for you. Who do you think in the comic book world can beat Popeye?
Hulk?
Like Popeye the Sailor Man?
Yes, Hulk. Is
You think the Hulk could beat him?
yes. I think he's the only one.
All right. Why do you believe that? I'm just curious. I'm not gonna I'm not debating or anything like that. I just want to know your
And
reason
it is
behind
the trouble there is in every world. If he gets mad, he only gets stronger. You can beat that. If you try to fight him and he loses, gets mad, and he gets stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger, you can beat that.
it. I do want to give you some information to see if you change your mind. All right.
All right.
If Popeye hits anybody or anything, it becomes his most basic form. So if he were to hit the Hulk, he would become Bruce Banner. He would not stay.
But he can turn back after that to the Hulk.
And
It will be a cycle of
Oh my
fight.
God. If that's not the funniest gift I've ever seen, it's Popeye punching the Hulk. He turns to Banner. He turns back into the Hulk. You son of a, gets punched again. Turns back into Banner. He's like, you son of a, turns back into the Hulk. Dude, that is like, here's an endless film for you. It's Popeye versus the Hulk, right? Popeye punches the Hulk. He turns into Banner, and then suddenly he gets mad at him, turns back into the. Oh my God! I could watch that for about 15 minutes, maybe. After that, I can't watch the rest of the eternity that it goes on.
But for 15 minutes, you're gonna be stuck laughing.
For 15 minutes, I'm gonna be laughing my ass off. All right, I'm not gonna lie. For 15 minutes, I'm probably gonna be rolling on the floor, trying to breathe proper. But after 15 minutes, I'm gonna be like, this is not entertaining anymore. But then it might be one of them things. It's like 5 minutes later. It's like, wait, it's funny again.
All right. Crap. We started talking. I forgot my next question. Your turn, Unknown.
Well, that's
Ask a
fine, man,
question,
because I
Donnie.
got one, man. Because this is something that's come up repetitively on the pre-show questionnaire, which I might actively release everyone's one day. Everybody might get mad at me, like, we thought this wasn't something for the show. You're gonna suddenly get put on all these answers. I don't think anybody will get mad. I don't know. Fabian might, because whatever. That was hilarious. Yeah, answer that 40-page questionnaire for the podcast before you come on, bro. I love you. Deadpool, baby. That's what's up. But on the note of the favorite film,
You
for
just
some,
told the secret, you fool.
all right, look, it's fine, Hardaway. Don't worry about it. Just run with it. All right. It's already done and in the books. All right. But on the note of favorite film, man, I've had a lot of Star Wars films come up. Like, I think this is the second time somebody's answered Return of the Jedi. I've had somebody answer The Empire Strikes Back. What do you think it is about that series of films that sticks in people's heads so much? I only ask this specifically, man, because look, I like Star Wars. It's all right. I am really about to get a lot of hate for the next statement that I make, but I feel like it's something that's way overrated for what it is. You know, like I said, I was gonna get a bunch of hate for this. I'm not. I'm not gonna. Yeah, whatever. Hardaway, don't look at me all hard and shit. It is. I'm sorry. It's a series that I don't understand why it's gotten the notoriety that it has. I understand that it did kind of invent modern sci-fi, but there's this other part of me that's like, it probably someone else would have done it, and there's other versions, and there's so much, and there's different iterations as far as like it just specifically compared the two big ones, Star Trek and Star Wars. They take themselves completely different ways. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
feel like for some reason Star Wars has more notoriety, and I mean I don't know personally, I don't get that. And maybe it's just the part of my brain that's like, look, I don't want a Star Wars for humanity. I want a Star Trek. And now understand when I say that, I mean in the grand things, or I mean that in the grand scheme for us as a species. You know what I mean? Because Star Wars leads to us being really dumb to one another.
I'm curious to know how much you know about Star Wars.
Just,
One
just, hey,
and
just
two.
you hold on and
I
let the
want you
guest
to
answer.
answer your
Let
question.
the guest answer. I'll get your input off
For me,
air.
Star Wars, it was before Star Trek, before even comics. Before I realized there. Uh, First, I saw comics of Spider-Man and thought Spider-Man was alone in his world. I didn't know it's the Marvel universe. Star Wars was the first epic universe I met, and I was mesmerized by it. It took me away to another world and gave me a lot of ideas. And after I saw The Last Jedi, I saw it 9 times in a row. And I wanted, after I saw that, I wanted to do that. I wanted to do something like Star Wars.
You,
And
oh, go ahead.
the,
Remember?
when I think about a fantasy world or sci-fi world or space operas, the first thing I think is Star Wars. Because of that, this is my first experience in a in some kind of this of world, and I think Star Wars. It's so a lot of people love it and see it because maybe for them it's the first time, or maybe it combines a lot of classic templates from restaurants, mythology, and fantasy, sci-fi. There are a lot of combination in that world, in that story. I think in the new series that I saw from Disney Plus, it's kind of lost. It isn't the same as like in the Lucasfilms.
Can I say though, you make a valid point, and one that I've never really thought of as far as what you just said. Maybe I don't have such a fascination with that. Because I had been highly introduced to the Marvel Universe, like as a universe, long before I was ever really introduced to Star Wars. Like, I knew all of these characters interacted, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So I guess maybe that's why, in part, I'm like, I mean, it's okay. Yeah, it's a good flick. I'm not gonna sit there and tell you it's a bad movie because I don't think it's a bad movie. It's just I don't get like just like Titanic. I don't get why in the hell Titanic gets the notoriety it does. We won't go into all that though. You know,
All right. I'm not gonna go into Titanic, but I can definitely go into Star Wars and Star Trek for you. Because Titanic, there's only one scene in the entirety of Titanic that was awesome and epic as hell, and that's when Jack floated to the bottom. sunk to the
No, the
bottom.
most epic
But
scene in Titanic, hold on, was when the musicians were sitting there playing their asses off as that boat went into the
cool.
water.
That was
That,
real in real life too.
Yeah,
yeah, that was really cool because
yeah,
that actually happened. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying?
That's
But
what
when
I
it
mean.
came to like the best part of the movie, like the one that made you just smile, was when Leonardo DiCaprio sang. I'm sorry, but no, look, and I love Leo. He the bravest white dude ever. Just to say the N word in front of Samuel L. Jackson. You know that man had the biggest balls ever to say that. But he a champion of the black community for that one.
Oh my God.
But but when it comes to Star Wars and Star Trek, actually Star Trek has a larger entity than Star Wars. Star Wars you see more, but when it comes to things that were inspired by one of the two industries, Star Trek wins that every time. All right.
Yes.
A good portion of sci-fi novels are you can easily place them right in the Star Trek universe. Shit, you can even place Star Trek and Star Wars within the same universe. Star Wars is just a history, the way back. All right, because there's psychics in Star Trek. All right, and you could just blame their psychic powers and whatnot
Pause.
on.
Hardaway, hold on. Because man, what an
I'm
interesting theory.
going.
Nimrod, what do you think if for real Star Wars is just the prequel to Star Trek?
I think it's the future of Star Trek, not the prequel.
You think Star
Because
Wars is
the
the
end of the
future?
Federation, it's Star Wars. Because all the aliens and the humans are combined there, and they live together in the same nation, not a different planet. You can find in two things, humans and aliens too, and other planets too. In Star Trek, the aliens live in different worlds than the humans.
That's kind of depressing, Nimrod.
Well, you also got to remember in Star Trek they have an entity called the Borg that is damn near impossible to eradicate and get rid of.
Of course. There are a lot of things in Star Trek that you don't have in Star Wars.
Yeah, no, I
But
mean I'm just saying if Star Wars was the future and whatnot, the reason why it's so dystopian and post-apocalyptic and whatnot is probably because of the Borg and their shit.
that would be a Star Trek story.
Here's a good one. Here's a good one for you. What happens when a Borg assimilates a Jedi?
Oh,
Why would you ever think that?
What do you mean? Like as far as the catastrophic effect it would have, or as far as just the general thought of a Borg being able to do that to a Jedi?
It's more along the lines of it would be an actual working Vader, if that makes any sense. Because Vader losing his limbs makes it so his force abilities and lightsaber abilities are not something to be desired. They're trash
So,
comparatively. You know
so
what I'm
what,
saying?
what do you do with that, Nimrod? Right? What do you think of that story? Right? Right? There's a story for you to write, but hell, you'd have to take that to Marvel now, and I don't think they own Star Trek. They only own Star Wars, so you can't even do those crossovers anymore like Dark Horse did back in the day.
yes, but you can use that and develop something else like that. If I write something like that, the book will become part of the Sith, part of the Empire.
Bro, I was on the same level he is right now. Like that's the only way I can see that going.
That ends everything I want to point out to y'all. Like, if the Borg became to where they had Sith powers, based on how they assimilate, they all have Sith powers. And I think we would all, whoever would all die.
Or simulated.
or assimilated.
Well, which you might as well fucking kill me at that point. Thank you very much, Nimrod. I'm good. Like seriously.
Yeah, terrific story, futuristic sci-fi story, sounding like the sea, become the bird.
Darth
Maybe
Maul.
the
Darth
Betazoids.
Maul getting assimilated.
Oh my goodness! If Star Wars, did you say if Star Wars was the past, maybe the Sith turned into the Borg? That would be. Whoa. Whoa.
We're getting off on so many crazy tangents on Star Wars and Star Trek right now. I just want to point it
The
out.
points of the questionnaire.
I really do. It is a quest, man, to figure out how far can you take this story, right? Really, how far can you take this story, right?
Every story that you write or story that you want to tell, think you need to reach the far that you can with the story, with your ideas. This is the best way to make to run wild.
I like it, Nimrod. Let me ask you then, man. When you're trying to run wild with a pen and you're trying to write a story and you get some writer's block, what you do to get it out of your head?
What I usually do is, if I have a writer's block, I draw. If I have a drawing block, I write.
Nice.
That's the only way to think about something else. I know a lot of writers. One of the tips a lot of writers tell you is to go outside, to go for a walk, or to read something, or meet friends, or think about something else. I can tell you that when the COVID eruption got to Israel, I had a writer block for almost 2 years. I couldn't write anything and tried, but couldn't finish anything. And that's when I began to do my scripts on a regular basis. Once before the COVID, I did strips, maybe one a week, 3 in a week. But in the COVID, 2 in a day sometimes. You have to refocus your energy, refocus your mind. That's how you handle writer's block or artist block.
I definitely agree. And I think that's definitely a quest everyone needs to get on as far as just to be able to refocus themselves. So hopefully, we can reach a Star Trek and not a Star Wars. And understand I'm not talking about in the semblance of the films when I say that. I'm saying I would like us to, be exploring space and not blowing one another up in it. But that's neither here nor there at all. I want you to all make sure to check out Drawing Windows, right? With Nimrod Schif. Look, how am I going to screw your name up at the very end of the show, bro? That's ridiculous. My apologies, Nimrod. Nimrod Schif, yeah, right? If you're
in the whole entire episode correctly, and you gonna mess it up now?
I am the unknown, bro. Whatever, I'd say Google me, but it's really hard to Google the unknown factor and not find a bunch of mathematics. But that's the quest is just find it, right? Into story, right? But like I said, if you've enjoyed this episode, firstly, check out the links we got below, right? And if you've enjoyed Nimrod, do me a favor, man. Send him some really, really, really dope pizza, right? That's what I want you to do. Now, if you haven't enjoyed this at all, send him some really dumb demons from hell, right? Because I think it'd drive him crazy.
Oh my God!
Before we go, Nimrod.
Demon?
Huh?
I said, what would a really dumb demon be like? Like one of those demons that can't do. They try to be evil, but they fuck up everything, and it turns good.
That's for me, damn demons. If you remember the earlier demons from the darkness, Top Coast Darkness.
The Darklings,
Yeah.
We're pretty down.
Hey,
without any personality, without any.
But the Darklings from the man, look, you're gonna get me into a whole conversation when I was trying to wrap the show up because I love Jackie. I love Jackie, right? But I gotta say, the Darklings from the Darkness were iterations of Jackie's personality, and he was just him, I think, more than anything, trying to handle the fact of the power that he possessed. Because let's be honest, if you give a human being the pure power of creation, which is exactly what the darkness is, it's the ability to make whatever you want real as long as it's dark, you're going to be a little nuts because that's absurd. It makes you God as long as there is no light, right? And no human needs that level of power or the level of power that Clark Kent has. That's why he's a damn alien. But, Nimrod, again, it's been a pleasure, man. And we hope to have you back on the questionnaire later. I want to see more of your work. If you want to see more of Nimrod's work, like I said, click the links below. I don't care where you are. I know they're there because I finally figured that out, right? It doesn't matter. Spotify, Audible, Amazon, YouTube. There will be links where you can find this gentleman's work, right? This has been... I don't even know what episode we're on, Hardaway. Do you?
This is episode awesome.
Yes.
Real quick before we go, Nimrod, can I get you to be like, yo, this is Nimrod Schif. Check out the questionnaire every Wednesday at 7.
To say it?
Yeah. Yeah. And then if you want to throw in a little bit of, check out me, blah, blah, blah. All good.
All right. Check out every Wednesday the questionnaire. And check out the drone windows.
All right, can you say, my name is Nimrod. Check out the questionnaire at 7 p.m. You got to introduce yourself.
Oh, my name is Nimrod Schif. Check out the questionnaire every Wednesday. And look for drone windows.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Make sure you do that, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoyed this episode, do me a favor, like, subscribe, hit that bell so you can keep up with everything we going on the quest. Check out everything we've done in the past. We are going all over the place because the point is to get your comic on. Have a good night, y'all.
Yeah. And if you ever see us walking, throw us a Danish cheesecake. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take just some regular cheesecake, cherry or strawberry, please. Have a good night.